watch out, because we are come for you. Oh, sorry. It's my mother's tongue again. It comes through. You'd better watch out, because we're not playing. We're real. And
I don't think it was a struggle. I think it was a miscalculation. So it's an expensive mistake that he's made.
Chris Eubank Sr. attacked Conor Benn at backstage after he disrespects him. The moment shocked everyone, but truthfully, Conor had it coming. You don't insult a legend and walk away untouched. Eubank Sr. reminded him that respect isn't optional in boxing, especially when your name carries no weight compared to his. Johnny Nelson tried to play it fair, but deep down, everyone knows Conor Benn crossed the line first. Chris Eubank Sr. didn't lash out for fame, he reacted to blatant disrespect. Some call him the villain, but in truth, he only defended his name and his legacy like a real man.
Wrong. Yeah, he was wrong. He put his hands on it. And so it was wrong. But you know what? He's saying I'm going to play the villain. You know, being the prop, done everything right up to this.
Eddie Hearn couldn't hide his shock. Even he admitted that what went down wasn't part of the script. But let's be honest, Conor Benn provoked it. You can't talk down to a legend and expect him to stay silent. Eubank Sr. simply reminded him what real respect looks like.
Because I thought it was a bitch move. I really did.
Have you spoken?
I would never. If you chin someone at a presser, if you do that, it's different. But when you
Duke McKenzie called it perfectly pure genius. Chris Eubank Sr. turned a moment of chaos into pure theater. It wasn't just emotion, it was experience. He knows how to command attention, how to own the spotlight. And once again, Conor Benn ended up looking like the fool in his own story.
Just a genius personally. I don't see there's any harm in it. You know, this is the entertainment business that we live in now, and if you're not going to be entertaining, you're not going to put bums on seats, and Eubank is the master at it. So the fact that he did what he did, I mean, I think he walked into the...
But the debate didn't stop there, because Adam Catterall had his own take on whether boxing really needed moments like this. Adam Catterall might think boxing doesn't need drama like this, but he's wrong. This rivalry is exactly what brings the sport alive. Eubank Sr.'s reaction wasn't chaos, it was passion. It reignited British boxing's greatest feud, and now everyone wants to see how far it'll go next.
But I do feel it's maybe what the sport doesn't need, and yet many people are saying, no, it's great, you watch it. Everybody wants to go to that.
Paul Smith saw what many fans did the poetry in chaos. It wasn't violence, it was a message. Chris Eubank Sr. handled disrespect at the old school way, without fear or hesitation. Conor Benn tried to play tough, but Sr.'s reaction reminded him that some men are simply built different.
Expect that from Chisora. I'm not going to lie, when it happens, I laughed my head off. I absolutely laughed my head off. I did too. I thought it was quite poetic. I thought what happened was quite funny.
Even Alexander Usyk couldn't ignore Conor Benn's behavior. His calm but cutting words said it all. Think before you speak. When a world champion like Usyk tells you to show respect, you listen. Conor wanted attention, but what he got instead was a public lesson in humility.
If you think bad things, next say, oh, I'm sorry. Listen. You must think before, think what after будет well.
Adam Smith was right. This is boxing, not ballet. Tempers flare, pride clashes, and moments like these make legends. Eubank Sr. didn't just make headlines, he made history. The incident might have been messy, but it's turned the rematch into the most anticipated fight of the year.
For the casual fans, do we condone it? I mean, in boxing terms, should that happen at a head-to-head? Of course not, but these things do happen. This is the fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next.
Johnny Nelson's surprise said everything. For a man as composed as Chris Eubank Sr. to react that way, something deeper must have been brewing. This wasn't random aggression. It was a response built on frustration and years of provocation. Conor Benn didn't just insult Sr. He disrespected his legacy, his career, and the standards that define British boxing. Eubank Sr.'s action wasn't about violence. It was about defending honor. The idea that there's something behind the scenes makes sense because legends don't snap without reason. Nelson might have been shocked, but deep down, even he knows that Conor's arrogance finally pushed the wrong man too far.
Don't know, but that really rattled him for him to think of and plan doing something like that.
Yeah, because we see things happen in...
Dave Coldwell revealed the genius behind the madness. Eubank Sr. doesn't act on impulse. Everything he does is deliberate. That so-called attack wasn't rage, it was theater. Coldwell called it premeditated, and that fits perfectly with who Eubank Sr. is. A showman who understands power, presence, and timing. Touching Conor Benn's face wasn't just a reaction, it was a statement, a symbolic reminder that respect isn't earned by loud talk, but by legacy. Coldwell might not condone the physical side, but he clearly understood the intent. In a sport built on mind games, Eubank Sr. once again proved he's the master of psychological warfare.
Meditated, then it's not uncharacteristic. At the time, you're thinking it's like reaction. So no, it's not, because he premeditates everything. And it was funny, but I don't agree with...
And while some saw it as crossing the line, Coldwell later admitted there's a fine balance between passion and control. Coldwell's follow-up was brutally honest. Yes, the line was crossed. But that line was drawn by Conor Benn long before Eubank Sr. ever stepped backstage. Words have weight, especially when you aim them at a man built on pride and honor. Eubank Sr.'s patience had limits, and Benn tested them. All bets are off perfectly sums it up. The pressers had energy, tension, and intensity, but Conor's arrogance tipped it into disrespect. Eubank Sr. didn't just react, he reminded everyone that boxing is still a gentleman's sport at its core. You can play the villain, but there's a price for mocking royalty. Coldwell's analysis wasn't criticism, it was recognition that sometimes respect has to be demanded, not requested.
I'm not surprised.
Does that cross the ane, do you think?
Yeah, it does. Listen, the presser was good. It was a great presser, back and forth, poking each other, but not too far. But once you get physical and you touch a man's face, then...
Jack Catterall's response added a touch of reason in a storm of chaos. While the headlines focused on the backstage altercation, he brought the conversation back to what truly matters: fighter safety and respect for the sport's rules. But even his calm take couldn't hide the underlying tension. The Eubank-Benn feud has always blurred lines, not just between families, but between professionalism and personal pride. When Conor Benn disrespected Chris Eubank Sr., it wasn't just a verbal jab, it was a shot at everything Eubank represents: dignity, discipline, and legacy. Jack's neutral stance is understandable, but he, like everyone else, knows these two families can't coexist peacefully anymore. Eubank Sr.'s reaction may have shocked the audience, but it was decades of rivalry boiling over in one moment. Behind every punch, every stare down, and every press conference, there's history that runs too deep to ignore. Boxing thrives on emotion, and this rivalry is now its heartbeat.
You know what? Everybody's weight situation and weight making situation is unique to them. There's weight classes for a reason. I know some people are going to two extreme lengths. I don't know, I can't comment on it. I wish him to be safe and well, like I wish every fight.
Johnny Nelson's disappointment came through loud and clear. He's a man who's seen boxing evolve, and yet even he was stunned by how personal this feud has become. His reaction wasn't just about Eubank Sr.'s actions, it was about the circus surrounding the Benn family. Every hour, new drama unfolds, and it's clear who keeps fueling it. Conor Benn's lack of accountability and constant provocations have turned what could have been a sporting rivalry into a full-blown soap opera. Nelson knows the sport thrives on hype, but this went beyond promotion, it became personal warfare. What bothers seasoned professionals like him is how far Benn's arrogance has pushed respected names like Eubank Sr. to their limits. It's not just about a punch or a shove, it's about a father defending his honor against a loudmouth who doesn't understand what legacy means. Nelson's "let's see what more information comes out" hints that there's more behind the scenes, and that this rivalry might still have another shocking chapter to unfold.
What drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. So until more news comes out.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s words were sharp, cold, and laced with pride. This wasn't a son defending his father out of emotion. It was a man standing for legacy. For Eubank Jr., the disrespect Conor Benn showed wasn't just directed at Chris Sr. It hit the very foundation of their family's name in British boxing. He made it clear he won't ever tolerate that kind of talk again. And rightfully so, the Eubanks built their careers on class, control, and composure, values that Ben continues to throw away with his reckless mouth. The difference between them is night and day. Eubank Sr. taught his son how to command respect, while Ben learned only how to chase attention. Junior's statement wasn't angry, it was final. It set the tone for what's next. This fight has gone beyond business. It's now personal, generational, and emotional. The moment Conor Benn opened his mouth against the Eubank legacy, he sealed his own fate.
I don't think he thinks before he talks sometimes. And maybe he misread the situation in thinking I was going to sit there and accept the way he was speaking about my dad. So I wasn't going to ever sit down and accept that or tolerate that.
Bomac didn't sugarcoat a thing. His message was direct. Eubank Jr. already broke Conor Benn mentally, and that's a scar no amount of training can erase. When a fighter knows he's been dominated once, that memory doesn't fade, it festers. Bomac's confidence isn't arrogance, it's the calm of a man who's seen preparation up close. He's worked with champions who thrive on composure, not emotion, and that's what separates Eubank from Benn. Conor talks like a warrior, but inside, the fear of being humbled again lingers. You could see it in his interviews, the forced confidence, the nervous energy. Bomac's words hit deep because they reflect the truth Eubank Jr. already owns that psychological edge. This isn't about who throws the harder punch, it's about who can hold their nerve when pressure mounts. And right now, Benn's already cracked once Eubank just has to tap the same spot again.
It'll be a little bit easier this time. For the
simple
simple fact he already got his number. It's hard to get away from when somebody already done beat your ass. That's hard because it's already.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s confidence radiated through every word. This wasn't hype, it was controlled aggression. He's already done the hard part once, exposed Conor Benn's flaws, shattered his confidence, and proven who the superior fighter is. Now, he's ready to finish the job. You can hear the composure in his tone, no ego, just belief. It's a different energy, he said, and that line says it all. The rematch isn't about revenge anymore, it's about dominance. Eubank Jr. knows exactly how to break Benn down mentally, physically, and spiritually. The first time was a statement. This time will be a statement with an exclamation mark. Benn can talk all he wants, but Eubank has tasted victory and now wants the knockout to seal legacy. His focus, his hunger, and his discipline show a fighter reborn under Bomac's guidance. Conor Benn's noise can't shake that calm because Eubank Jr. already knows the ending.
Yeah, I just want to get my hands on him. I've got my hands on him now. I've beaten him. So now it's kind of like, all right, well, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it even better. Let's see what happens, you know? It's a different energy.
Do you see yourself knocking him out this time round?
I think so.
This feud has gone far beyond boxing. It's now a clash of pride, legacy, and bloodlines. Chris Eubank Jr. fights not just for victory, but for respect, for his father's name, and for every insult that came from Conor Benn's reckless mouth. Benn might call it revenge, but what he's truly facing is accountability. Eubank Jr.'s discipline and composure stand in sharp contrast to Benn's emotional chaos. This isn't just about who lands the cleaner shot, it's about who carries the weight of history better. If Eubank wins again, he cements the Eubank legacy forever. If Benn somehow shocks the world, he redeems a family name that's been tarnished by arrogance. The question now is simple: whose legacy survives? Are you backing the calm, composed Chris Eubank Jr., or do you believe Conor Benn can rewrite history? Drop your thoughts below and join the debate.